Yo, yo, yo. Unmuted in the chat. What's up? What's up? Let me bring this thing closer. You know what I feel like? I feel like I only use about 10% of my Elgato Stream Deck capabilities.
For sure.
Because I really only use it for like this and stuff. In reality, it's like I know a lot of people set it up for just hotkeys in general to like open up programs and do things within that program.
That's all mine does is open up programs for me and turn on my lights and stuff.
Yeah. I need to. I wish you could set up. Maybe there's a way to do it for like Bluetooth lights, you know? Like if we could turn on my backlights with it, that'd be awesome. But I doubt it.
I want to turn my fan on, but I might end up turning it off in the middle of the show.
In order to do that, you would probably have to get the Elgato RGB lights that are like $1,000. Those Elgato RGB strips are so stupid.
Yeah, they're so dumb. Especially for that price.
Elgato makes really good products, but man, you are paying a premium for shit that you don't have to. If you like it all integrated, then by all means. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Welcome and what is up? Welcome to episode 325 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we have a packed Yikes of the Week to get to. A Good Dude of the Week appearance, two of them, in fact. First time ever, we have two Good Dudes of the Week to highlight. Also, the highly anticipated Mortal Kombat movie review. So hopefully you did your homework and you can listen. If not, you can listen and get it spoiled. Though, spoiler alert, there's nothing really to spoil. It's Mortal Kombat, so you know what you're getting. And then also a quick little DreamHack Masters playoff preview for CS. Oh, and then, of course, e-news to wrap up the show. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you about the show sponsor in Alt Esports. Valorant Iceland Tournament is coming up because no one knows how to actually say the name, so we just call it the Iceland Tournament. And I'm on to you, esports. I notice how none of you say the actual name of it, so it's not just me who has no idea how to say it. But it is coming up, and guess what? You have a chance to represent the number one team in the world for Valorant, and of course I'm talking about Sentinels. Also, if you're NA, root for version 1. But you can go to altesports.com and pick yourself up some Sentinels gear. Support the NA boys as they face on the world's best coming up towards the end of the month in Iceland and Valorant. Also, they have their new summer collection up. You can get some tie-dye shorts, I see, looking hella fresh there, as well as some new shirts and everything to get ready for the warmer weather. Do all of that at altesports.com.
My name is Alex Van Silly-Win, and you're listening to The Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. This is episode 325. The date, May 2nd, 2021. The time is 9:03 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Join our Discord through the link in the description as well. If you want to support the show and be a Patreon, go for it. Get exclusive access to community night roster slots. We have a community night coming up here shortly. When? Not sure, but I do know it's shortly. Maybe even this upcoming May. Maybe in 1 week we will have a community night. And if you want to secure your roster, being a Patreon is the best way to do it. If not, you could probably still get in. I won't lie to you. but we would definitely support it being a Patreon. And our website, tcr.gg, has everything else you need. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Happy Sunday, my friend.
Happy Sunday indeed.
Gotta ask. People know. I assume people know by now. I'm a Cowboys fan. You're a Lions fan. How do you feel coming out this weekend with your draft?
I won't lie, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the NFL draft this year. Maybe it's just I have too many things going on. I do know they drafted offensive linemen, which a little bittersweet about it.
10 years too late?
Yeah, like I'm a little bittersweet because finally, like, okay, so Matthew Stafford, we completely ran his career into the ground, like we do all the greats, if I must add. But now you're finally caring about your quarterback? Like, it's almost like if you were like married and your wife left you just because you couldn't get your shit together, and then after the divorce you decided to go to the gym. It's like,
yeah, it's a little too late.
Like, I'm
It's still
happy
good-
for
good
you, but
picks. Yeah, like still good, but little late there. I agree.
how'd the Cowboys do?
I think they did okay. Like, I mean, unfortunately, I don't watch college football the way I used to, right? Like, I don't have that kind of time anymore. So
Right.
once you get past the second round, it's like a lot of the names are blurs to me for the most part.
Yeah, that's how.
But
That's how I
I was excited about the positions. We went all defense. We had to. We were terrible. Probably gonna suck again on defense again next year. Not like 6 rookies coming in or all of a sudden gonna elevate your defense to Pro Bowl caliber type play. But I thought it was good. I was excited.
Esports doesn't really have anything like the NFL draft or draft in general, does it?
No, because of the fact that we don't like collegiate. There is no collegiate, even like minor league systems, right? There's nothing that's in play to where annually you would have a group coming up.
Kind of
I
like
think
closer to the EPL where it's just like free agent signings. You know, it's
Yeah.
hey, we're in the time of free agency, and oh, we picked up this big young guy from some challenger team, and then that's the excitement.
Yeah, like or even like lower level tier 1 teams, right? Like in the sense tier 2, MDL, tier 1, like we follow a lot of those players and we hear a lot of those names. So those are the signings that you look forward to and anticipate, but that would be the closest feeling you get to it.
I don't know which one I prefer. As an American, I feel like we're conditioned to liking the draft, right? Because all of
it's
our
exciting because everybody has some hope then,
right,
you know?
right, yeah. It's the whole we don't do relegation or anything like that. And if you're last, you can get the first pick and maybe have your team turn around, unless you're the Lions, and then you can get like a dozen first picks and still suck. But we're not talking about that. But I also do like just the excitement of free agency. Like it is a true free for all. Like you never know. Now
You don't even really have that in like a lot of esports.
I
You
mean
have
it's
that
just
in
because the free
Call of
agency
Duty.
is so thin, right? It's
Yeah.
like
Call of Duty is probably the most exciting when it comes to that. I
and
would
well,
say,
that's just because in Call, I mean, even as if you're a veteran, rosters just don't care. Like in Call of
No,
Duty,
they're flipping every year. Like every year, you're just picking the best 4 that you think are going to win.
I mean, hell, we talked about last episode with Dallas Empire, right? You're defending champs in second place in the league, and you're dropping players. Like that's nuts. But it, like you said, when it comes to free agency and signings, sure makes it more exciting for us. But
Yeah.
maybe one day. I don't know which one. I don't, in a perfect world when we have minor leagues and collegiate esports is a thing, a real thing. Okay. I know all you colleges email us to come on the show. I'm not disrespecting you, but when it's a real thing, and we have that kind of filter system to the pro league, if that ever happens in esports, not saying it will, I don't know what I'd prefer. But
I just don't think that'll ever happen.
I don't think so either. I think it's because the thing is like with esports, it's like you can go pro at yeah, right. Which I guess
if you're phase, like you're taking
again,
people
which
like
I guess is
7
closer to EPL, right? So they sign kids when they're 14,
Yeah.
15 years old in EPL. So I guess it's as close as that as we can get if you need to compare esports to traditional sports, as I know some have to. I think that's as close as we can get. But that's neither here nor there. What is here though right now, Anuj, is Yikes of the week, because it is Sunday night, right?
Yep.
last
Trust me,
week of
I
baby
know that
leave.
all too well.
I go back to normal life next week, so
God, it's like I don't even feel bad honestly because you're off for so long, but I feel bad for how you must feel knowing that it's that close.
it
Like
sucks.
that's butterflies in your stomach, kind of first day of work, probably feeling all over again after so long.
It does. It does. I go back to my full-time job because they're very look, I don't love the job, but the company is wonderful. If that makes sense. I've even spent this entire time looking for new full-time work and just nothing has come up. Or nothing has worked out, I should say. So that also kind of is like a kick in the gut when it's like, oh, okay, I really wasn't expecting to go back to this job, but here I
Now,
am
does
anyways.
anybody from your work listen to the show?
I don't think it's any secret that media and production is my first love.
It's true.
You know, they're the second wife, and my first wife died. They know that they weren't my first choice. Like,
Oh, if they don't, they do now.
we all know it, right? Look, when I'm taking time off of work to go do the show and do traveling for the show, they know. Like that's
Yeah.
your first sign. And I don't even lie about it. They're like, "Why do you need this time off? Are you sick?" Like, "No, I need to go watch video games." I need to travel to California to go talk about video games. So appreciate it. But I guess that could be a good segue into Yikes of the Week, because Yikes, I have to go back to my full-time job. That being said, if you know of anything full-time job in the production realm, whether that be TV, entertainment, you hit me up and we'll talk, because I'm definitely open to anything and everything, anywhere. Please hit me up. But Yikes of the Week, Anuj, I have a handful to get to, but let's get to yours because it's been on the back burner because we wanted to make it Yikes of the Week. So we did not talk about it last episode.
Definitely worthy of Yikes of the Week, but this is with the Esports Certification Institute. Already, that's a yikes in itself, right? And I feel like anytime we're seeing some of these like corporations or we just saw it with one not too long ago too, where it's like a bunch of suits trying to come in and
What was it? It was Esports of America or American Esports, something
something
along
like
those
that.
lines. I forget what it was, but it came and went just about as fast as this one did.
The issue with things like this, and I'll tell you what it is, what they've done here in a moment, but the issue with stuff like this is these people try to come in and then lay out the ground rules. And that's not really how it works. Like you don't get to come in and dictate. You can come in and be a part, right? You can be a part of what's going on, and I would want more people to be involved. So this is not to discourage people from trying to get into esports, but don't make your first statement to the esports world of this is what you need in order to be considered an esports veteran. And so what the
Even
esports
if they're, no,
certification
let me say one thing on there. Even if they're right, esports just doesn't play that game.
no, I mean anybody with the brain in esports could have told them this was probably not going to go over well. Honestly, like I don't know one person that would have sat there and given them like praise for what they were putting together. Maybe like you said there's something behind this that we could take away as a possible solution, but this wasn't it. So what they did is they announced an esports like certification program essentially to prove that you know esports. Cost 300-400 bucks to take this test. Think of it as a SAT style test. I mean it's quite lengthy. We have some examples of the questions, and I don't really want to read like too many of them. I'm going to read just this one here.
Should I write it down? Should I?
No, don't bother. This is the shortest one for me to read and still relatively long. So I'm going to give you just one example of the types of questions that they're asking. A Valorant player reports the following kills from their matches: 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 21, 22, 25, 26, 29, 35, 37, and 38. What is the value of the third quartile of the data set? And it's multiple choice: A, 21.5, B, 26, C, 29, D, 35.
So I can't do my normal guessing game with multiple choice where I just see what I haven't answered in a while because it's the first question on the test. But Professor Anuj, I would like to say the answer is B. I don't know what quartile is, but I like the answer B.
That's incredible. Because I actually don't have the answer key here, so I don't know what the correct answer is. But that sounds really good to me. And they say B has the highest probability of being right on multiple choice tests. I'm sure that's where you got that answer from yourself as somebody that was probably similar to school as I was. So, Tim, you're probably right there, but we don't have the answer.
Live and
But
die by the
again,
guessing game.
look, dude, these things they've already refunded everybody's purchases. They're going to regroup and figure out a new plan because of the backlash. I mean, this spread like wildfire over Twitter last week. It was all over the place if you haven't seen it. A
If
lot
the
of
thing
memes
itself
came
wasn't
out.
a yikes, the fact that they've already went and backtracked, right? Like at least stick to your guns a little bit to see if it works, right?
No,
Because that's
no. They got bashed so bad, dude,
Bro,
that nobody
so
would take this program as like you would be trolled for having the certification at this point.
now, and it's also as someone my full-time job is in finance, right? And when you're finance, you get a lot of certificates. And everyone in finance knows they're total BS. It's just something the corporate world does to rotate money through another organization. Legit, that's all it is. Like, because you work so hard, you have all these series tests and all this crap to tell people that you know what you're doing, and then you get into the job and it has nothing to do with all those tests you just did. Right? If anyone works in a job like that, you know exactly what I'm talking. Hell, even if you don't have certificates, right? Go get a degree and then go work the job for that degree and let me know if it's exactly like how you learned it, right? It's 99% of the time not. So for them to come in and try to be like, listen here, guys, the esports world has an issue where, it's just too much of a what you know, and we need proof of what you know. So here's this, and it's kind of like, but who's going to honor this? That's if no one gives a shit about your certificate, what power does your certificate have? That's honestly the only thing with college, right? Is people care about the diploma. They see the education behind it. So that's where the value comes into play. With this certificate, if no one values it, what good is it?
None. I mean, and that's the problem now, right? Everyone looks at it as a joke, and so like any being in staffing, I could tell you like 90% of IT jobs, the most relevant thing is your experience, and that's the same thing for esports. Tim and I may not be historians of esports and can recall games from 2003 because first of all our memories don't work like that. Like there are some people out there that could pull something out of a hat and tell you a fact.
I
Thorne
can't
being
tell you
one
a
of them.
game from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean that's just not the stuff that I remember. But I can tell you that I know for a fact I know more about esports as a whole than 95% of the people out there. Probably 95% of the people out there, I would say, that are in esports in some capacity or another. And it's because we follow so many. It's what we're doing. Does that say that makes me an expert? I don't know if it makes me an expert, but it says that I know a lot about esports, and I could probably hold a conversation with anybody on most esports that are out there. And that's because of experience. We've just been doing it for a long time. We follow it, we enjoy it. I think like many fans out there that are dedicated to creating charts and keeping track, like stat tracking, like they're an expert in what they're doing, in that particular area of esports. They're an expert, and there's tons of people out there, from editors, like video editors, like they're also experts in what they're doing, and it's because they've have a body of work. And so that's what they should have been looking at and find ways to maybe. I think a certification might work better where it's like, hey, we're working with 20 of the top, esports people, and if we can certify you as an esports professional if we can see you're willing to share your body of work, like a resume type thing.
Right.
Maybe something like that is a little bit better, but even that seems far sketch. Like again, this was just a bad idea.
Good intentions, but bad idea. Good intentions, but bad idea. Because I get it. And like their reasoning was there's so many applicants and blah, blah, blah. But again, like I just don't understand in what world. And like they had a board of advisors that they mentioned. And it's just kind of like none of those advisors who were supposedly esports know-it-alls told you this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the crazy part, right?
Like
It's
you said, what you need, if you're gonna do this, you have to come in with like, hey, we're working with the Center Ring Esports podcast. We're working with Do Not Peak Entertainment. We're working with Cloud9, Envy, Fnatic, whoever that can back it up, right? But if no one's willing to back up the certificate, other than this is the whole Esports Federation drama, right? Where you just make up this organization and expect people to follow through, and it's just like
this CSPPA.
right. Yeah, it's the same exact thing where it's like, this isn't like early like 1900s where people just make up organizations and then we follow through with it like the FCC and radio, right? Like it's or the Better Business Bureau where it's like they're not really anything official. We just for some reason go with them. It's like we're past that point now. You can't do that in esports and you're going to get called out every single time. So Esports Certification Institute, we hardly knew ye, but hopefully when you come back, because I don't ever root for failure. I'll say that. I will never want someone to fail. So hopefully they come back. It's a better game plan and a little bit more thought out and hopefully with a little bit more good vibes behind it than what it came out as. Speaking of, whatever happened with that other stream? I forget the name of it. What happened to that streaming service?
Which one?
The one that people thought was going to be like Dr. Disrespect's new one, and they like blew up.
I honestly forgot the name of it.
What's the name of it? Start with a B, did it not? Binge?
Yeah, something like
I couldn't even tell you. Binge? Mixer, no. Gameplay videos in chat says Mixer. That's the already dead streaming service. This one was like when Mixer died though.
It was the one that like Doc and all them were reportedly going to.
Yeah.
And they got all this, like,
man, I can't even tell you the name of it though.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it ever went off or it was supposed to be like a streaming service by the streamers for the streamers type of thing. But clearly didn't work out if I can't even remember the name of it. Anuj, I have 2 Yikes of the Week here for you, and they're both personal Yikes of the Week that involve my life. The first one comes from the land of Valorant. Now, I tweeted about this, and I also mentioned it in Discord, so if you follow, you might already know where I'm going at. But Anuj, in Valorant, even in comp play, you know this. When it goes into overtime, you play 1 overtime, and then after that, you can vote for a draw. It might even vote for a draw for the first overtime. I don't even know, to be honest with you. But either way, you can vote to continue and continue play on overtime or vote for a draw. If you vote for a draw, that you might as well have just sat on the toilet for an hour because you accomplish nothing with a draw.
I mean, the fact that you can do that in ranked play is kind of ridiculous.
I agree.
In casual play, I get it. I really it doesn't honestly bother me. And
no, because in casual, I want to do it. I don't want
to.
to sit in the game for so long. Like,
yeah, I mean, most people might just be doing that because they just have a little bit of free time and
right.
Like, I got 30 minutes to make this happen, win or lose.
I went into a triple overtime game that was voted in a draw.
That's unbelievable. It really is, because at that point, I'm almost just more curious, like, who's gonna pull through? Like
I don't even care if I lost at that.
time.
And like those are normally the better games because the teams are so close in skill and strat and competition that it's like, oh my god, this is so back and forth, and everyone's like hands are shaking because they're so nervous because they don't want to lose. And we had people talking shit to each other on the teams, and then it went into overtime, and it was voted for a draw in triple overtime.
Triple overtime. That's crazy.
It was brutal. Brutal.
Like, I feel like at that point everyone's just committed. So like 6 people have to turn around and say, no, never mind. Let's just call this a tie and move on.
Yeah, that's I'm like
it's heartbreaking.
And it wasn't a placement match too, so I don't even know how that affects my placements. I don't even want to think about it, but definitely yikes, definitely heartbreaking. The other yikes that I have is I like, we are professionals here in New Jersey. We are esports experts, and esports experts call themselves out when they make an error. I also might be an idiot. So last episode, I was talking about, what the hell's that game? Apex was made after. Why am I blanking?
Titanfall?
Titanfall. Jesus Christ. Titanfall 2, and how I went to the subreddit, and it's just players talking about how they're going to play TF2 on May 1st. And I thought it was like a cheeky, hey, let's go play TF2 on May 1st to show EA that they need to support Titanfall. Well, I'm an idiot and didn't realize Titanfall 2 had the same abbreviations as TF2, Team Fortress 2, and they were really talking about the free-to-play weekend for Titanfall 2. So in fact, it's the exact opposite of what I thought they were doing. They were actually saying we need to show support for the game, which might be the better way to protest a game, maybe. But that being said, yes, Titanfall 2 and Team Fortress 2 share the same abbreviation, and I learned that this weekend.
Did you jump on?
First off, I was busy today. I went to the Indy race at Texas Motor Speedway. It was awesome. So I didn't have time today. Yesterday, you and I were just straight up dominating, caring, and educating kids in Valorant. And that's not an over-exaggeration. We played with...
Not even a joke.
I mean...
We had a Sage on our team that legit had never played an FPS before.
Like...
I don't understand how she got into the grouping with us. I just don't even know.
Didn't know how to place her wall, didn't know how to play the bomb, and we're in comp, ranked.
Doesn't even know positioning, looking the wrong way, looking at the defender spawn where she just came, it's stuff that just didn't make sense. I couldn't believe it was happening. No. And Tim and I were honestly coaching her through the game. Hey, put your wall here. Just do this every round.
Credit to us. We were, or at least I was toxic at first, but then when they said they were new, I went into Papa Bear mode. I was like, I will educate you. Sorry I yelled at you.
We thought you were trolling. That's why we got upset.
Right. I thought you were just throwing the game, but in fact, you're just an idiot. So let's get through this together. And we won the match. So
worked out.
All is well. But no, long story short, no, I did not play any Titanfall 2 this weekend. It was the free-to-play weekend, so hopefully you did if you had the chance. But listen. It needs to just be free-to-play all the time, no?
At this point, yeah.
Go on. I mean, I get it. Free-to-play weekend gets people in, but I'm at a point in my life where unless it's only $10, I'm not gonna play your game.
$10 for a new AAA title, maybe would get me to do it. I'm gonna pay for Halo when it comes out. Right. There's some games that you're just yeah, I'm in. But
even Star Wars Battlefront 2, I would have never have paid for that game, nor would we have ever both paid for it and played it. But we got it for free, and now we casually jump on from time to time because it's free and it's fun. Same thing with Titanfall 2. I think it should just go free to play and capitalize on while it still can. It's an older game too at this point, is it not?
Yeah, make your money somewhere in the game. That's fine, cosmetics or some nonsense, But it's been out for a long time.
Titanfall 2, 2016.
Yeah,
we're making a big deal about a free-to-play weekend from a game that released in 2016? Get out of here. I don't care about your free weekend on a 5-year-old game. What? I think it was also because it was on Steam, which was it released on Steam or something like that is why it was also a big deal for it. But free to play ends in 14 hours. Overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Again, I'm sure it's great. I played Titanfall 1 and I loved it.
What are they charging for it?
I don't know because right now it says free to, it says free to play on the thing. So I don't know. I loved it. I mean, it was completely, to me, unlike any other FPS you would have played. It would be cool to see it on the esports world because the Titans and, their giant mechs that you can jump in and you feel like you are.
I played TF2 when it came out. I ended up returning it because it didn't run good on my old computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I had it for a couple of days and it
probably would not run well on my computer right now.
Yeah, the multiplayer ran really bad for me, so
so you can pay $5 a month for EA, right? And then that will get you it. According to this, I think it's $30, which I mean,
too much.
It's not. Yeah, it's not I'm not going to have to take out a second mortgage for it. You know what? If we had listeners that played it, sure, but I'm not spending $30 on a game that I'm going to play once. Let's be real. I'm past that point. I'm past that point in my life. So go free to play and I'll play it, which I know sounds like a shitty video game consumer, but that's the world we live in.
There's enough options out there.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I can play Valorant completely for free and yell at people who just downloaded it to uninstall it. So,
and give them more money in skins than it would have cost me 10 times over to buy the game.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I refuse to pay for a game. Oh, wow. A $70 knife?
Not bad.
I could swing it. I could swing it.
Think what they cost in Counter-Strike. This is not too bad.
Good dude of the week, Anuj. We have 2 good dudes of the week to present this honor to, I should say. And then we'll get into our Mortal Kombat review and then a little DreamHack playoff update as that's about to get going. Good dude of the week, to prove that we are not a bunch of negative Nancys and these people who just hate esports and gaming and don't, people can grow, as we've shown on this show. Good dude of the week, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby has agreed, and I don't even care about his last name. If you rock the name Bobby as a CEO, you go by nothing else other than Bobby. And I don't give a damn what you say. I could meet him right now. I'd look him dead in the eyes and say, hey, Bobby. First name basis, don't care. Because you know why? When you go by the name Bobby, you want people to call you Bobby.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, like that is your name. So no one cares. Like if I went by Timmy and I told everyone, yeah, my name is Timmy, don't call me Mr. Krajewski. Like just,
It's Timmy.
Yeah, don't do it. Anyways, so CEO Bobby of Activision Blizzard has agreed to cut his salary and annual bonus by 50% and eliminating performance incentives, including the $200 million stock bonus that he was recently awarded to, that like a day after the company did layoffs. Remember, we talked about it. This was pretty much the exact opposite story that we talked about in Yikes of the Week. And now he's good dude of the week.
It could change quick, and
life comes at you fast.
Okay, first of all, he's a better man than I am, because maybe I'm reducing some things here and there to make the PR side better. He gave back a lot of money, like a lot of money, and you could say, well, he's still making a shit ton. That's not how it works, okay, fellas? Like in the real world, you take what you can get. Right? It is not easy to come by. Making money is a very difficult thing. Making a lot of money is even more difficult. So, good on him for, reading the writing on the wall, basically. Like, I mean, there was no good press coming out towards Activision and Blizzard. Even with the games, as popular as they are, it's more negativity from a social media perspective when it comes to Call of Duty, especially, right? Just the number of bugs. There's always something. Every update, another gun is overpowered or something. CDL doesn't get a ton of Twitter talk, unfortunately, because it's mainly focused around Warzone, and in Warzone you deal with cheaters, and like that's the stuff that you see. So that part's a little negative. Obviously, World of Warcraft gets its fair share of hate, but has a huge following. So this is just a nice little good touch of PR for them when it is really difficult Activision Blizzard just doesn't get good PR. They just don't.
There's more, oddly enough, for a company that is as wildly as successful as them, who has every game is pretty much a knockout home run in its given amount of time, right? Say what you want about Diablo 3 now and what Overwatch has become. They were home runs for their time, right? Yeah. We can all agree on this. They really do suck at PR.
Like terrible. From Overwatch to Diablo to WoW, like there's always like WoW gets this crazy peak and trends on Twitter for about a month when the expansion comes out, right? And then after that, again, it kind of goes back to getting shitted on for various updates that they're doing. Call of Duty, same kind of thing. There's a lot of build up hype to their games, and then the games come out and there's a level of disappointment because expectations are so high for Blizzard, not for Activision necessarily. And so, like, this is just a nice touch for them. Like, this is just something that's a positive, and
Now,
that, again, that's a ton to give
and I
back,
will
dude.
say
Like,
this, maybe
think about what
Bobby
they gave
listens
back.
to the show. Maybe Bobby listens because if you recall on that Yikes of the Week episode that we talked about, I said if I were him, I'd give back 100 million. Give half of your bonus back to the employees, and you would look like a saint because, like you said, and I know you still get people who are like, well, he still has $100 million. Yeah, but he gave $100 million too. Like that's like I have to contemplate if I want to donate
That would have
$10
been
to something.
thousands and thousands of dollars per employee.
Right.
That like,
Now, I don't know like how this all shakes out in the end. Like, does this change those employees that were laid off? I have no idea, right? But the point is going forward, this at least looks like a positive change. If at the worst, he's more self-aware now than what he was 2 months ago, right? Like that's,
wouldn't
and
be funny if
that's,
he changed his mind in a few months, but nobody knew.
yeah,
I'm I'm actually gonna
that's
take
what I
that.
said. Like knowing how a CEO really works, he's probably just reworked this into some other bonus that he's going to get. Like he never actually lost anything. This is all
He
just
cut his
coming.
annual salary in half after they increased it by 100%.
Yeah, and that was just buried. Something like that. Like I was telling my wife, I was like, just watch. I know that's what's going to happen. That's how CEOs work. But no, I think, and look, I'm under the belief that a CEO is kind of like, especially for like a company like Blizzard, where you hear rumors of their employees just having to skip meals or take food from the kitchen at work just to eat at home. I'm a belief that like a CEO should almost treat their employees like their children, and you want what's best for your kids. And it's like, look, I want all of my employees to feel good about working for me. And if that means I have to give up $100 million and still make $100 million, right? Like I'm still living
You're not
pretty
broke.
right. I'm
Yeah.
still pretty good. By all means, take $100 million. If it boosts the company's morale, if it makes people feel good, then I feel like that's priceless in the end of it. And hey, good dude of the week for CEO Bobby.
For sure.
And you're still getting people hate on him, but
Hard to hate on this.
go cut your salary in half. Let me know how it works. Second good dude of the week goes out to Riot, because Riot has announced that they will now be recording and monitoring voice comms in order to combat toxic behavior. So this has been rumored, I think, for a little bit now, going on in certain games. Maybe not exactly with Riot, but just in general with games and everything. I've always had the saying, look, if you're going to talk shit, say it in voice chat because they can't report you for it. That's kind of my old saying. Well, now I can't go with that rule of thumb anymore. I guess because they now can report you for it.
I'm surprised it's taken this long for this technology to get implemented somewhere. Can you imagine if this was in PUBG? Before you eject out of the plane, you would have over 50 people banned. Before you even like left the plane in that type of game, right? With all the shit that was talked in the pre-lobby chat for those games. Awesome for Riot to do this. I think it's great. Like I'm not a toxic individual, so for me, this is not like a worrisome thing, right? And then there's a difference between like getting mad kind of toxic and then caught like saying sexual harassment type stuff,
Yeah.
being a racist. Like that's the stuff that I hate. Like I have to sit there and mute people, report them, knowing nothing's probably going to happen because it happened over voice chat. They didn't say any of it, type any of it out. So it's nothing's going to happen most likely. But I think this is great, and I would love it even more if you had to like attach a personal ID to your account. So this stuff was tied to you as an individual. I think they do that in China, which is not going to be popular for me to say for our American listeners. But like, I would be very much okay. Like, you have to have a photo ID or something attached to your account for them internally to know, like, hey, if this is the stuff you're willing to say and you're saying it, like your name is tied to it. Like that would make it even better. But this is huge. And I'm surprised it's taken this long for a technology like this to be implemented.
Yeah, and I'll speak up for all toxic people out there that I have my moments of toxicity, no doubt. right? It doesn't matter if I'm off stream, on stream, playing with listeners, playing with family members. It just I lose, I can be toxic, no doubt. And I'll own up to that. But I get like mad toxic, right? Like I get mad at myself, I get mad at the game. Everything's suspect, right? Everything's questionable. I don't think and maybe you can answer this better than me because I don't rage at people though. Like I don't get
sometimes,
but I keep it in game. Like I don't get personal.
Oh, no, you don't take it personal. You take it out on somebody in a game about the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not like,
Okay.
what the hell? Do you not know how to plant because you're a woman? Right. I don't say anything
No,
like that.
no.
I keep it all in the game and game related, which I think is completely different than.
That's not what they're looking for.
That's
They're
not
looking for
right.
that.
And that's like people are like, oh, so you can't talk shit? No. You can't call people the N-word. There's a difference of talking a little smack, making a little fun. Like anytime someone whiffs a big shot, even on my team, I always say, do you want to talk about it? Right? Just as like a funny, like, hey man,
Yeah.
we all saw that. Do you need to talk it out? It's just funny. It's just something funny. But
I would hope that's not what they're looking for.
No.
Is shit talking. This is for
the hate speech,
harassment and hate speech, like any type of hate speech.
Yeah. So and look, if you can get that out of the game, I don't know why anyone would complain about it. Because again, this is just like how when people are upset about how their anti-cheat works, right? Well, look, if you don't have cheats on your computer, you really have nothing to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't want them listening. Well, listen, just keep the N-word out of your mouth and you'll probably be fine. Like it's very simple. Just
Like, don't harass women in game and don't say the N-word, and you're probably not going to get banned.
Yeah. So, in
But
any
good on them.
language. Okay? You hear that? Russians? Even in your language, you can't say it.
Simple.
Sick reference. So there you go. Have it. 2 good dudes of the week. Congratulations, Bobby and Riot, for stepping up to the plate and being good dudes of the community. All right, Anuj, before we get to the DreamHack playoff preview, let's get over to our next series documentary. It started out as documentaries, but now we're just kind of going into anything gaming, esports related that we want to talk about. So
Turns out there's not a ton of great esports docs out there.
no, ton of docs, right? Ton of docs, but
That's
after
why I said great or good. I'll take good.
we started off really high with the Smash documentary, and then it just steadily went worse and worse.
Like, it's an awesome one, so that kind of sucked. Maybe we should have played that later.
Yeah, we should have done that one last or something. We'll do free to play, which is on Netflix now. We'll do that when the TI is around or it's supposed to be around or whenever. But for now, we wanted to review Mortal Kombat. The movie just released. It's available on HBO Max and anywhere else that you can find it, I suppose. But I know it's on HBO Max because that's where I saw it. Let me start off by saying this. Mortal Kombat, I would almost say from a standpoint of if I'm just ranking my lifetime favorite games, is a top 5 game for me. A lot of memories in Mortal Kombat, sitting in the basement in Detroit, playing with my cousins, hours on end, doing combos. It's
freestyling with Eminem, like
Eminem came over. It's just we were just 2 boys off of 8 Mile, right? Playing Mortal Kombat, and just it's just a lot of memories involved with it. So I love Mortal Kombat. Still play it. One of the few games I'll pay $60 for, and it's solely because I just respect them, and so I'll spend it on release, knowing damn well I will not play it. But I'll spend $60, I'll play it for a week, and then I won't touch it. But I don't regret it because it's Mortal Kombat.
I also have like a love, I should say, for Mortal Kombat because of the time when we grew up, right? Like in the sense there were 2 really big fighting games at that time, and it was Street Fighter and it was Mortal Kombat. Like those were like just the big boys, and Tekken was involved too, but like really like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are the 2 that just stand out. So both of those games, like, definitely a special place in my heart for both of them.
Plus, Mortal Kombat made you felt like you were getting away with something.
You did. You were always like, that's when the rating system came out. I think that game like helped drive the rating system because of how gory and bloody it was back then.
So with that being said, right from watching the trailer of this movie, and I even think I said this on the show, I had very low expectations. Very low.
I did not have really low expectations. What I had was the expectations of a good story driven movie, because that's how cinema has evolved. Like, we get deeper, right? It's not just like quick one liners the whole movie, and that makes a movie. Like, I feel like I was expecting something a little bit deeper in storyline.
Because the movie was exactly what you just said you didn't think it was going to be.
Yeah, like, it really turned out. And let's just jump into the review. So this, what first annoyed me about the movie, and I'll give it a score. We'll give it scores at the end of I forgot how many we had a scoring system.
It was just 1 out of 10 with the decimal system.
I thought we had like is that what we did? It was just 1 out of 10 with the decimal system.
I thought we did, right? Did we have
Yeah,
something
maybe,
funny with it?
I thought we had something there, but maybe we didn't. So, anyways, for this, first annoyance was the main character being a new introduction into the Mortal Kombat world, and that would be Cole Haan, I think his name was, or whatever it was, Cole something in the movie. And he came in, and he had the lineage and the tie to like Scorpion, which was cool. But Mortal Kombat's one of those games that has so many freaking characters already that they easily could have picked even Liu Kang again and made him like the main character, and I would have been okay with that. I thought it was a little weird to go off script and introduce somebody new, because I was a little confused for a while there, thinking like, well, shit, I haven't played Mortal Kombat in a while. This is somebody that's like probably new to the series in the last couple of games that I haven't touched. And so I didn't like that they took on this Cole guy, and I thought he did fine. Like, he did okay in his role. I didn't think he was terribly bad or anything like that. I just wish they would have gone with staples in in the game already, and driven them with the story.
Yeah, I felt the story, and like you said earlier, where you're like, you were kind of hoping that you were going to get a little bit more. There was a time period in life where video game movies were just so bland in story and development. And this almost felt like taking a step back when we come to movies nowadays, right? Like you said, like, I expect real story and development in the world of Mortal Kombat. This definitely felt like your cliche. Honestly, it's been years since I've seen like the original Mortal Kombat movie that everyone makes fun of.
I happened to see it just like a year ago.
Okay,
on Netflix.
I feel like this isn't any better than that was. Just this has
like a lot better in my mind. The original.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I didn't think I hated that movie. This just seems like a shitty video game movie with really good special effects.
Exactly what it was. Like, okay, so for me, the beginning was great. How they did the introduction to Sub-Zero meeting Scorpion before he's Scorpion, right? Like,
right,
I thought that was I thought that was awesome. That scene was really captivating, and it pulled me in right at the beginning. I thought that was great. I also thought the ending was pretty good in terms of like the fight scene, and then once again Scorpion coming back, and how they teased it into the whole looking for the next fighters, right? And like they kind of showed Johnny Cage being, going to Hollywood and stuff like that. Like, I thought the ending was also pretty good. The middle was trash for a movie. Like, the whole 1 hour middle in between the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes, I really thought was like a really bad movie. Like, really bad movie.
I was telling my wife, because my wife was kind of half-heartedly watching it with me this morning. And afterwards, she was like, how was it? Because she didn't really watch it. And I was like, the fighting scenes were okay. But literally every other... Joey in chat, you shut your whore mouth about it being better than Kong versus Zilla. You shut
I didn't
your
see Kong versus Zilla
damn mouth about that. Kong versus Zilla... Godzilla versus Kong, I think is actually what it's called. delivers on exactly what you want with Godzilla versus Kong. Is it gonna win an Academy Award? Absolutely not. But you get two badass monsters fighting. And that's all I wanted out of that. With Mortal Kombat, all I wanted was some badass kung fu karate action with Mortal Kombat in it. And all I got was some okay fighting with the worst dialogue and story character building I've seen in a very long time. And I'm not even like this big movie snob guy, you know? Like my favorite movie.
That's not us. Like,
Yeah,
that's
like,
not us.
I literally never heard of one movie at this year's Oscars except for the cartoon ones, right? Except for animation movies. I'm not a big movie guy.
And even now, is Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
like that shows you a little something about
like my bar for a good movie is very low, and this still to me didn't hit it. I really don't understand. First off, this was a crime in itself, where you have them shoving down every reference to Mortal Kombat video game in the movie, except for the one that everyone wants to hear, and that's someone saying toasty.
Yeah, saving it for round 2.
Like and apparently it was, and they deleted the scene, but it's like, bro. But I loved the fact the video game callbacks were nice. I loved the fact that when I think it was who was doing the sweep kicks with
Kung Lao.
Kung Lao, was that Kung Lao in that scene? Either way, like the sweeping kicks. Yeah, where it was like the cheap kicks and then the one guy's jumping over them. Like, okay, that's a direct call to the video game. The forced finish them, fatality stuff seemed forced to me as a reference.
Kung Lao's was a little cool with the helmet, like going through that chick, that when she was like flying in or whatever, like that was a cool little finishing move. I thought I did not like how there was no tournament. First of all, like that really bothered me. I really felt like we are owed a tournament in Mortal Kombat. Like that's just kind of
how they kind of just completely sidestepped.
Mortal Kombat is that not like, is it not a tournament? And Shang Tsung in the original movie was such a badass in like such a dark, evil character. And the guy that they had playing, I think it was like Chin Han. I've seen him in other movies before. He was in Batman Dark Knight Rises as the Asian bad guy.
That's where I knew him from. I couldn't remember.
I saw him and I was like, what a terrible cast.
Okay. If we're on casting, they did, why am I blanking on all these names? Liu Kang, completely dirty. That guy, I could beat up that guy.
I was okay. I didn't like how they didn't like he wasn't a big part of the story. I didn't like that. Like I thought he should have been more involved because Liu Kang is like, he's just the guy, right? Like
I think I just liked the old actor for him though so much more.
The old actor was so good. That's the problem. The casting in the first one was really good. Shang Tsung was awesome. Liu Kang was awesome. Johnny Cage at that time was like perfect for the Johnny Cage role. The way they did Scorpion and Sub-Zero you had no connection to them because they were behind the mask the whole time was also like good, having both of them evil.
I will say Kano knocked it out of the park.
Kano was good.
He was the relief of all the characters. Yeah. Sonya Blade, I felt like a cheap 90s actress that they got. Like, I don't really understand her. Like, she was...
Jax, I thought, was good.
Yeah, like, Jax was fine.
They did pretty good with him. And I thought how they, like, built up Jax early on, and then, like, he had his kind of redemption arc at the end when he got his arms. Like, I thought that was all fine. But really, like, just bad writing. I don't even really want to blame this on the actors. Like, I thought the writing was just really, really, really bad. And
I had a few funny parts. I can't find. I don't know what I did with my notes, but
I'm okay with the thought of them making another one, though. As with all of this crap that we're talking,
you know why? Because it's Mortal Kombat.
That's the thing, right? Like, I feel like, okay, maybe you'll learn from this one, and it'll like get better. Like, is that a possibility that could happen? I hope so.
I think here though, I had a few funny parts of the movie though. I had in my notes. I can't find them, but I do remember the one was early on when Sub-Zero came back to kill Cole and his family, and like Luke Cage is all there, right? And like they're in the car. Sub-Zero's on the street, literally creates ice and a hailstorm over their heads, slams it down. Okay, Luke Cage stays back, or Luke Cage, the other Jax.
Oh, Jax.
Think of the other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The other
Stays
big
back to go
muscly
into
black guy, Jax. Got confused with Luke Cage from the Marvel show. Jax stays back to fight him. Okay? And then so what does Cole Young and his family do? They go back to their house and he tells his wife and kids, "Don't worry, you'll be safe here." Like, bro, what are you talking about? Did you not see the ninja guy throw an icicle at our face? Like, no.
like we're really not going to be fine. You should probably go into some sort of hiding at that point. Yeah, I mean, again, Tim, like I had low expectations coming in from an overall like. I didn't think it'd be great. I just thought we would have somewhat of a well-written story because there's like a lot of history to the game. But we didn't go into the tournament.
I
I
mean, there
thought the
really wasn't any
characters they
story.
chose were pretty good. Like, obviously, I'm happy we saw Sub-Zero. I'm happy Scorpion was in there. Um, Liu Kang being in there was good, but you're right, he didn't play like I just didn't like the role that he played. I didn't think it was like deep enough, for him. And Jack, Sonya Blade, and Kano took up 50% of the movie. Like they were really such a large part of the movie. And then Shang Tsung, like I said, that he was a disappointing cast for me. Like he just doesn't come across as like an intimidating, powerful emperor type person. So I want to go into my rating now because I don't really have like a positive side to flip on this other than the first 15 minutes I thought were great and the
It's
last 15 minutes were great.
the only positive thing from this, because again, like, so Joey in chat says he got what he wanted from it, and it leads to the tournament in the next movie. I will say this: I didn't get what I wanted out of this because I was kind of hoping for a more like Godzilla and stuff. It's like, okay, it's Godzilla versus Kong. I kind of knew what I wanted. I just wanted monsters fighting. This, I kind of wanted a more mature, grown-up Mortal Kombat movie.
100%. I think that's what it was. Is I wanted like the audience for this game is not 15, 16-year-olds. It's probably a bunch of like 25 to 35-year-olds that grew up playing this game. And I was kind of hoping for more of a mature movie. You're right. It did feel like, hey, let's just like put blood in here and have some quick witty lines, and that's our movie, like, and make Scorpion say get over here, and that's going to be enough. Like, as cool as that scene was, it didn't make up for like the middle hour of the movie. So I'm going to give this one, Tim, like a rating of like a 4.5. Is probably where I would put this, because again, I didn't think it was god awful, but it didn't meet several of my expectations. So I would give it like a 4.5 rating.
If I had to, oh, look at that. I just did the math here. And I think I'm right there with you. It's 4.5. Because if I had to rate the actual story and any character development in the movie, I'd give it like a 1. But like the fighting and somewhat maybe like a 7. So I think I'd give it like I think I'm right there with you. Like maybe like a 4, maybe a little lower. Make a 4.2.
And I wouldn't blame you. I mean, you could go as low as 3.5, and you'd probably be like, okay, I can see where he's getting that number. The thing was, it didn't appeal to I don't think the general audience, which would be people that don't know the Mortal Kombat world that went to go watch this movie, because then it's just a bad movie to them, right? It didn't really appeal to the veterans of Mortal Kombat because we didn't get maybe enough fighting, and we didn't get like enough character development from the core characters, because one of them was brand new to everybody. I guess that was their way of being able to introduce new characters and kind of show that off, but I still think they could have done it with the previous person. So I don't really know who like loved it. I just don't think there was like, you're not going to get a high score from the critics, you're not going to get a high score from the audience. So probably getting a pretty low score all around, I think, from most people. And so again, like there's parts of it that I enjoyed, but as a whole, it wasn't a good movie. I'm not telling somebody that's not a Mortal Kombat fan to watch this movie. Let's put it that way.
If and if you are a Mortal Kombat fan and you just have nothing else going on, it's free on HBO if you have HBO. So I would say watch it.
If you're a Mortal Kombat fan, I would say watch it anyway.
Yeah, it's just you're not gonna like it though.
You're not gonna, yeah, you're definitely not gonna love it. You'll like parts of it.
I would watch it, but with like the laptop doing something else. Like this
have
is
it running in the background.
this is not one that you just dedicate the full 2 hours to. This is one where maybe you're leveling up an alt on WoW while watching. You know, have it on the second monitor. Don't feel like you have to dedicate a lot of attention to it. At least. That being said, Hollywood, listen here, okay? I would like to think I know what entertainment is. If you really want to kickstart a good Mortal Kombat franchise, okay? All right? Let's be real. Mortal Kombat, even in the video games, don't have like this amazing storyline and development. It's a fighting game. It's really not supposed to. You start off with one mature-driven movie. And when I say mature, I don't mean, oh, let's just put dicks and blood in it. I just mean like for adults, right? Your mature audience. Just forget Mortal Kombat. A Scorpion Sub-Zero origin movie storyline.
Would be badass. Would be so badass. That'd be enough for me.
I am 100% in if you want to give me the origin story of why these two dudes hate each other.
God, Tim.
That's what you need. And then you can go.
It's like I would give you an esports certificate just for that recommendation right there.
Thank you.
That shows me you know what you're talking about.
That's what you get if you hire me in your production studio.
How badass would that be? That would be that could be really sick if it was well made.
Yeah.
Like that could be really cool.
Yeah, don't do the cheesy costumes, don't do cheesy game, maybe throw in one reference to the game. Look, and I understand if you have Scorpion in a movie and you don't make him say get over here, there will be riots.
He has to say it.
Yes, I understand that. You will have riots if you don't have him saying that.
It'd be like Sub-Zero not like using ice in it.
Right, if he just maybe like turning the AC down.
He gets a chili in everybody's house before he attacks.
He just gives everyone a cold, and that's his superpower. It's just mildly inconveniencing people with a sweater. Like, I want to fight you, but I also kind of just need a hoodie right now. But that's what you need to do. Stop trying to force cheesy references. Yeah, so either way, not to beat a dead horse, it wasn't a good movie. Joey in chat, I love you as a listener and as a friend. Not as a movie reference person, though, apparently.
It's good to know for future recommendations that Joey gives us.
Of course.
Yeah, like it's important that we know his take.
Yes, because if you liked that movie, then we have problems. All right, getting back into esports, though. Oh, then again, if you have any recommendations, so we're just going to go out this now. We're just going to throw this out there as far as for movie, documentary, video game, esports-centric film reviews. If you have ideas, if it's out there, let us know. And if it's a slower day or whatnot, we'll try to do one like once a month. We're pretty bad about that, but it's on slow weekends or slow nights, it's definitely helpful. So hit us up with what you want us to watch, and we'll watch it and discuss on the show. But let's discuss the DreamHack Master Spring going on right now in the world of Counter-Strike, as we have had the group stages wrap up, and now we have the playoffs, which are starting May 7th. So I believe that's this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. This Friday, we have the playoffs starting. So right off the bat in the quarterfinals, we have some, honestly, big hitters right now. If you're looking at the perfect playoff situation, I don't think you could ask for better teams. Maybe a few, but these are pretty strong beginless. Quarterfinals, you have G2 versus Astralis, Furia versus Na'Vi, and in the semis, you have waiting the winners of those matches, Gambit and Heroic.
Yeah, no, we really got a badass lineup, right? Like, I think people would say, well, it sucks that we're missing out on a team like VP, they made it all the way to the lower final and had a chance to get in, getting eliminated by G2, but no one's complaining about G2 being in, right? We're kind of waiting for them to turn it on for all this time. I would like to think one of the surprises here is Astralis, right? As weird as that sounds, I know we said that they would probably be okay early on, and they were. They made it to the playoffs, so obviously that was right. But I did think that this was a tournament that they could falter in. They started off with Extra Salt. Extra Salt just came off of their previous tournament playing pretty well, but I thought that would be a win for Astralis, and it was. I thought Complexity would give Astralis a lot of problems, and Astralis was able to go in there 2-0 them. The second match was incredibly close. I think it went to a double overtime on Inferno. And then they finally fell to Heroic, which again, not a huge surprise. Heroic being the number one, number two team in the world right now, playing out of their mind. They looked really good, and that's with two COVID positive players right now. Tessus and Cadian both came back testing positive, which talk about a blow to the LAN world right now to hear that. Like that's the last thing we wanted to hear is anybody testing positive. But Heroic, even with that going on and going through that adversity, was able to do that. So I think Astralis would be probably the biggest surprise, just because there was so much unknown around how they would even be feeling emotionally. But we got a great final six here in the waiting.
Yeah, and to bring up the Cadian part of it with COVID, yeah, that it sucks. I feel like we kind of are sleeping on COVID right now, thinking it's gone just because so many people are vaccinated and everything. But just goes to show not every land is safe. So that's why people are still kind of treating it very, very delicately on how we do LAN events.
I think players will have to be vaccinated before they can even attend an event. Like they're not going to let an unvaccinated player come to a live event. It just wouldn't make sense.
Just with the travel and everything else involved, and
yeah, there's just no way. It seems like a bad idea to even say it out loud.
Yeah, but no, I do agree. I think Astralis has actually been performing well, all things considered. Right, they defeated Complexity 2-0. One in overtime, but the other in Vertigo 16-10, and that was pretty handedly. It wasn't like it wasn't like they looked not Astralis S, right? And then they lose Then they lose 2-0 to Heroic pretty badly, but again, like I say badly, Heroic is a top team right now. So to say you lose to them, I don't know if that's really fair to be using it as a judgment of like, oh wow, you guys are really in a tough spot now. Like, no, let me see Astralis lose to, even here, right? Even if they lose to G2, like, unless it's just completely blown out of the water, I guess, still not, not sounding the alarm if you're an Astralis fan. The Na'Vi Furia matchup has a lot of interest to me because I feel like Furia could easily take that from Na'Vi. I don't think I'm overly confident all the time with Na'Vi. Na'Vi could be a championship winning team, or they could be a team that, simple has to perform or they get bounced.
Yeah, I think for Furia, they had to make a crazy run to even make it here. So they're running on a high, right? They lost that first round matchup against Big, fell into lower brackets, 2-0'd every matchup from there on out. They 2-0'd Pain, then they 2-0'd Complexity to knock them out, and then they 2-0'd Vitality in the lower final to knock them out. Na'Vi just had a fairly clean run through, right? They took out Mouse Sports in a close matchup. They beat a very strong Virtus Pro in a battle of the CIS teams. And then they fell to Gambit there in the upper finals. But again, Gambit's number one in the world, and for right reason, right? Like they look amazing. And that was like a relatively close matchup between those two. But Na'Vi is a hit or miss team. Furia is a hit or miss team when it comes to advancing far into tournaments. They usually do good, but they hit their roadblocks. For them to be meeting up here does seem perfect. Like one of these teams is going to get a chance to prove themselves against Heroic. I don't really know who I think has the better chance. Like if I was putting my gut on it, I would like to see Na'Vi in that position because Heroic is just so calculated and Furia plays a little reckless, I guess you could say. And so that to me, I think spells disaster for Furia. I think Navi would just be in a little better position to take on Heroic, but I would still give Heroic the nod there. And then in the upper bracket, Gambit is sitting there waiting for G2 or Astralis, and talk about an awesome matchup, whichever one we end up getting there. I would like, again, there to see G2 make it through just for the sake of G2. Like if you're losing to Astralis now without device after paying for Nico and paying these crazy transfer fees, like Carlos is going to be sitting there thinking, like, what are we doing? Like if we're not beating if we're not beating a deviceless Astralis now, what are we doing?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're G2, you have to start capitalizing on opportunities like this. Yeah, I don't care if people want to say like, well, you beat Astralis without device. That's all fine, but in the win column still shows a W.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. And it doesn't matter if it's a confidence boost or if it's a good win or just a bad win, but still a win nonetheless. G2 needs to see some results from the money they're paying out here. So, like you said, they've had Nico, hasn't really done as much, I think, as people would think when they added him. So I would like to see G2 out there. That being said, I still think we just see a Gambit Heroic finals again, which I'm not against.
Highly likely. And I think if G2 beats Astralis and loses to Gambit, you can look at that loss and be like, hey, we could learn something from this. Gambit's playing incredibly well. So I think for G2, if, just making it to the semis is going to be mentally just as important as, for everything else for them. I just think they need to beat Astralis in this situation. If you don't do it now, you're going to doubt yourself for a long time. And I don't know like how long they continue on. Not to say that they're going to make a change anytime soon. It's just in my mind, I'm like, gosh, they're paying a lot of money for lackluster results. Like, how long do they want to keep doing that? In Valorant, they were willing to take an 8-time champion team and literally dismember them piece by piece because they weren't getting the results they wanted. I feel like G2 should be on a similar leash. Like there's only so long where you can be like, oh, they're learning to play together and this and that. Now, like all these teams have kind of made changes since Nico's joined. Like a lot of teams have made moves since then and look a lot better. So excuses are gone for G2. They just got to step up and perform, and that starts with Astralis.
And so, again, that kicks off this Friday in the AM if you're here in the States. So we'll definitely discuss more of that next Sunday's show as we know the results and can break everything down for you then. But before we get to that, we ultimately have to get to E-News. And E-News is brought to you, as always, by Philly Esports. Check them out, phillyesports.net. They host every month online at the moment and also local events when that gets back to normal, I am sure. You don't have to be in the Philly area if you want to do the online events. All you have to do, go to phillyesports.net and sign up. From what I see here, it looks like their May event is not up just yet, but it can be anything. Typically, it's been Call of Duty, but I've seen they've done Fortnite, they've done Rocket League, Super Smash Brothers, everything along those lines. So check it out, phillyesports.net. All right, getting into E-News. In CSGO, the Brazilians have come together and to form their own squad called O Plano. They will compete under this title as the CS Summit 8 qualifiers coming up. Members of this project include recognizable names: KNG, Henny, or Hen1, however you want to say it, Lucas1, Leo, and VSM. So I feel like we've seen all these guys play at least together in some form or fashion.
Like how many times, Tim? Hen1 and Lucas1 have been on 36 rosters together since the start of Brazilian CS, and just another one here. And look, I mean, VSM and Leo both came from a really short stint with MIBR. I think they were there for MIBR's like last month as a team. It's good to just see them getting back in. I would have liked to see like maybe a Fur or somebody on this roster also, although I know Fur randomly is playing with, some other team at the moment in their minor league system. But yeah, I mean, cool. Hey, they're coming back, and it's always fun to see the Brazilians compete. And I honestly hope they do well because they do bring a different level of passion to these events when they are playing. So we'll see how this looks. Like, I mean, expectations are kind of
Not to oversimplify South American Valorant, but don't you think some of these Brazilian CS players that just keep making the roundabout could maybe switch over and just dominate that scene?
100%. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. Like, projects like this seem like last stops, you know?
Like, this seems like a pretty solid Valorant squad to make the switch over to.
Like, just take all 5 and just
like
go.
Just say go to Valorant and test that out. At least you can maybe sign with another org that you've already been with, has a CS squad, right? Maybe MIBR moves over into Valorant and just signs these guys as that squad. But maybe not.
Yeah, I think if projects like this don't work out and they're not getting a offer to go join a team, because they're not going to stay on this project forever. It's free, right?
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, so what's your project here? Like, you've all played on every other big Brazilian roster, so they're probably not looking for you again, right? Like, is KNG really going to go to MIBR again? Like,
yeah. No.
I feel like the options are limited right now for some of these Brazilian players. But in Overwatch, Upper Deck has announced that they are venturing more into the trading card EPAC scene with their Overwatch side of it all. They've actually emailed us. So they're doing what they call like moments. I forget what it's called, but it's basically they're taking the best highlighted moments of that week, designing specific tradable playing cards for that, having a limited run. It's only available for that week, up to 200. You can get them on the Upper Deck website. But I'm a sucker for collectibles, so I'll definitely check it out. I'm, with everything going on with trading cards and everything crazy like that, it's always cool to see. In the May Melee coming up, Fuel defeated Shock and the Outlaws, arguably one of the still 2 better teams of the league. Dallas Fuel defeated both of them this weekend to advance to the May Melee, which I believe is coming up next weekend. It's in Hawaii. So there's that for you. And I think the other 2 teams there are Florida, Shanghai, and the Hunters. If I'm looking at their website properly, I think that's what it is. They don't make it easy for you to find out, though, Anuj.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's what it is. Shanghai Dragons, Florida Mayhem, Dallas Fuel, Chengdu Hunters. Those are the 4 teams in the May Melee, and it's a double elimination event. So that kicks off May 6th through the 8th, and it is in Hawaii. In Valorant, May 24th is the Masters in Iceland, and we'll do like a full breakdown as we get closer to it, because I think that's big enough. I think it's big enough. Let me stop myself here. It is big enough to do like an entire breakdown preview of this event. So we might get
waiting for all the teams to get.
Oh yeah, I think there's still 3 spots we're waiting on. So it's been a while because there hasn't been a CS major in so long. It's been a while since we've been able to do like one episode just dedicated to one event to break everything down. So this
will definitely get it. We're just waiting for the right time to get it out there, and still want to congratulate the teams as we're going along though, and acknowledge what some of these guys have been able to do. I think EU is probably the most excited right now because they got Liquid in there, which has been I think a fan favorite for some time, and then Fnatic to kind of bring their way in. And we talked about Fnatic, Tim, for a long time of, are they joining Valorant? Like, why haven't they picked up a team? And to jump in and get one of those 2 slots, fantastic for them. And NA, we got Sentinels and version 1. I think version 1 is a big surprise to a lot of people. A lot of Counter-Strike people will know the names of the players on this team, but they were able to beat teams like Envy. They beat Cloud9 yesterday in a thriller that went to full 3 maps, and they looked awesome. So you can't even knock them. Like, they played really well. It's not like they got an easy route. They had to earn that 2nd slot. And I know there's some disappointment around the NA side for not getting like an Envy or a fan favorite like TSM, who has been a fan favorite for so long but hasn't performed to that level. I think we really got one of the better teams in here. So Sentinels had to happen. If that didn't happen, then
that one, I think as an NA fan, that's the one team that you're like, okay, we have to get Sentinels in there. The other teams are all questionable in the sense of like they've all had their off days, right? Like you said, like TSM
been off for like a month and a half.
I was gonna say, I feel like they've been off more than on lately. Envy, although very good, they've shown some inconsistency. So, I don't think it's a complete shock to see them not in it. Now, to see version 1 in it might be a shock, but good for them, right? They've recently made their venture out of Call of Duty with the Minnesota Rocker and into other esports, and for them to capitalize on Valorant in in the biggest Valorant tournament coming up, that's huge for them as an org, let alone the players, but just as from an org, that's huge for them. So that's going to be awesome to see for that. The Korea side of things, Anuj, I know you follow that scene a little more than I do.
Yeah, New Turn made it. They took out Vision Strikers in the lower semis, and for Vision Strikers not to make it, really disheartening. Like, they were the team that was 102-0 and kind of a historic run from just not losing. It doesn't matter what the competition's like. That's just a lot of games not to lose, and for them to get eliminated, a big bummer. Would have loved to see them in this event. I feel the exact same way, Tim, about Japan. We had Crazy Raccoon advance, beating Absolute Jupiter. Absolute Jupiter, we mentioned them a handful of times early on, when we were really talking about all the teams a little bit more in Valorant, and Absolute Jupiter was a consistent top team, and they didn't make it either. So Southeast Asia also wrapped up X10 Esports, and now we're waiting on a few more. So we'll get the rest of, I think, CIS and Brazil, and then Latin America are the 3 remaining slots that we have. So we'll see who makes it out of there. But I'm really excited for this. I wish we would have had just a couple more slots for the bigger regions, or even adding an extra slot to like the Japan, Korea, the Southeast, if we were going to do like 2 across the board for each of them, because it really does suck to not get the best teams out of those other regions to make it through. I know these guys were the best on that day, but we do know Vision Strikers is the best Korean team. Like, they are. They just are. It's unfortunate that they lost where they did. We know Absolute Jupiter is the best Japanese team, and unfortunately they lost in the finals and they only had 1 slot. So that sucks, but we still obviously have some great teams coming, and we'll dive into this a little bit more.
Is what it is for some of those regions, but yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. I guess in a couple weeks, because I think the finals is towards closer to the end of May. If I'm not May 24th. Okay, yeah, I already said that. So May 24th. In COD, we have some updates here. Group A, Toronto is still dominating 4-0. Dallas did end up pulling out a win with their new roster. So Fellow didn't look completely terrible, right? The team didn't look completely off kilter. So I guess things are smooth sailing for now for Dallas.
I mean, it's still against the Gladiators, right? So I want to see this happen against some of the top tier teams, and then I'll get excited. But yeah, Toronto is still slaying. Like, they won their last 2 matchups. They beat Minnesota pretty handily 3-1, and then also beat the Gladiators or Gorillas 3-0. Atlanta bounces back a little bit. Today we had a slate of matchups with Florida taking out Paris, Chicago losing to 100 Thieves, and then again Toronto beating Minnesota. But yeah, kind of holding fairly steady from where we were just a couple days ago in terms of the standings. But yeah, I'm waiting for Dallas to do this now against the top teams, because the pressure is still on. 1 win doesn't alleviate that.
In FGC, Street Fighter has launched a new fragrance partnership for cologne and perfume with Davidoff, if I'm saying that.
The makers of Cool Water, for those of you that were 90s babies or 2000s even, I'm sure at the beginning, that was like the cologne to wear. And so funny that they've partnered up with them 20 years later. But
now this isn't their first venture though into perfume. I've looked it up, and I guess they've done this before with other people to make perfume and weird partnerships with Street Fighters. And I didn't know people still wore cologne, to be honest with you, but I couldn't tell you the last time I put on cologne, or even I don't even own it if I wanted to put it on. But
I honestly have like 5 or 6 bottles of cologne.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you put it on all the time?
Oh, when I'm out, like go out, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I
learned something new about you.
My cousin owns a wholesale shop, so I get them like super cheap too.
Oh, I just like my natural musk, you know. I just
Yeah, I don't smell good enough to like be like, yeah, I'm gonna let myself be.
It's all that curry.
Yeah, it's like too much curry.
You got to cover it up.
And you just got banned if this was on Riot chat.
I
so-
have. I am spreading your culture, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't know I couldn't share my friend's culture. Sorry about that.
I'll ask you later what curry is. I'll let you explain.
And in other news, I'm somewhat excited for this, Anuj. Star Wars Squadrons is having their first, or I guess not first, but their largest tournament to date with a 20K prize pool, and it will be held May 8th through the 9th, so this weekend.
Yeah, somewhat excited is the right way to put it, right? Like it's just I'm gonna check it out, and if it's fun and exciting, I'll stay tuned and keep watching. More than likely, I'll probably bounce off of it, after a few minutes. But I am excited to watch a little bit of it for sure.
If I can just see some pro dog fighting, you might hold my attention for a little bit. So that was one of those games where you and I both bought. We were so excited to play it. Within 5 minutes, we were like, we should probably just return this.
We're probably not going to play this a lot.
Like the excitement died
It
fast.
looked good. It just it's not really.
Well, it was like $40 or something, and we were like, it's not really even $40 worth. It's
I'll catch it when it comes around $10 on a summer sale.
When I get a new PC and I have the giant monitor and stuff, and I just want to like turn off the lights and feel like I'm flying around in space, then.
See, I had that, Tim.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So I still returned it
No
with you.
no excuse. No excuse. All right, so there you have it. There is E-News brought to you by Philly Esports.
And they're wonderful people to follow over there.
Yes, so go check them out. And altesports.com. You can go ahead and pick up new clothes and all that. But that does it for this episode of The Center Ring. Episode 325. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. If you listened to the whole thing or skipped around, love you all the same. Let us know in Discord and or Twitter on what our next gaming, esports, movie, documentary, whatever review should be. And we will get that lined up for the next time we do it. But that's it. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring, our website, tcr.gg. Join our Discord. Be a part of that. If you want to support the show on Patreon, you are more than welcome and encouraged to do so. But if you can't, that's okay too. We will be back Wednesday night to record Thursday's show to talk about who knows what. We'll figure that out. But that's like for another 2 days or something, so who knows? Anything could happen in the world of esports. But that's it again for now. For Anuj, I'm Tim. Love you. See you later. Perfect. No, Godzilla versus Kong was, I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like if you're looking for like character development and story driven, not that at all. In fact, when I was done watching it, I was like, what the hell was this story even? Like, I have no idea what the story was even about, but
you enjoyed it.
But yeah, it's just
But I would have
Godzilla.
been okay with that if I felt the same way about this. I just didn't come out of there being like, oh,
No.
I really enjoyed that.
And I agree with you. I watched Mortal Kombat and I was like, I couldn't even say I liked it.
I like the first one better.
Right. Yeah, like in Godzilla Kong, you could definitely just skip to the fight scenes and you pretty much get what you want out of it. But that's fine because that's all I wanted. All I wanted was badass monsters fighting. With Mortal Kombat, I think there was opportunity for stories. And because see, the thing with Godzilla and Kong with like the first part of these like trio is I felt like there was too much humans talking. When I'm watching a Godzilla or a Kong movie, I don't want humans talking. I want monsters fighting. Did you guys
Yeah.
stop uploading to Google Podcast? The answer is no. But maybe something happened. I can look it up. Oh yeah, the last episode was 222. Let me look. The Google Podcast had something weird with it where when they killed it off or something. Google, like it's not Google. Podcast websites. Yeah, Google Podcast says we're listed, but it should be. Confirm. Check to make sure you've chosen the right feed. Yes, that's the right feed. Verify ownership. Ownership verified. Get started. Okay. So that might do the trick.
How long ago did it show? What was the last episode it showed?
On this feed, I don't know. See, like it's weird. Like this one shows that they were, but then if I Google Podcasts, it shows that it wasn't. But I know Google like discontinued one of their podcast services because they had like two, and I think it was like the one in the Google Play Store, if I'm not mistaken. You know what show? I don't want to talk about on this show because it's not a really entertaining show as of right now. But on Apple TV, Quest something.
What is it?
Quest. Oh fuck! What's the show? Hold on. Apple TV shows. Why isn't this like popping up right here?
Is it a gaming show?
Yeah, it's but it's like a show about pretty much it's like WoW. It's what it's making fun of like Blizzard and WoW is what it is.
Okay.
And it's showing you like the game developments and stuff. Why can I not find this? It must not be a popular show at all, considering it doesn't show it anywhere on their website. But anyways, we tried watching it and Morgan didn't get it at all because she's like, I feel like they're using gamer terms that I just don't
know.
Yeah, she's like, I do not understand. And I was like, yes, you're absolutely right. So she didn't really like it because she's like, I just don't get it. Like, it wasn't like it's not that she didn't find it funny. She just legit was like, I don't know. Like, they were talking about loot crates and things like that. And she was like, I don't even know what that is. Yeah, she was like, I don't even know what a loot crate is. So.
Can't really blame her for that, though.
No, yeah. So it's funny, but it's definitely I cannot find it. It's not even. I don't know. I don't care anymore. Maybe it's not an Apple TV original. Maybe we just haven't found it on Apple TV. So Tavik, if you listen on Google, research the Center Ring Esports podcast. You may have to just resubscribe to it. I think whenever they like did their little goofy feed thing, it created the second one for us. I think that's what it is. So you might just be subscribed to the old podcast feed.
We can't get that off of there.
I mean,
kind of whack.
you would think there should be, but I can look for it. I thought I've already talked to them about it and said, hey, can you just merge them together? But
Yeah, that's like. I mean, there could be. I mean, I don't know how many, but there could be a couple hundred subscribed to that. That just
maybe a
don't
million.
even post anymore.
Maybe thousands of people are subscribed to it. Google is somewhat popular from what I hear. But all right, everyone in chat, we're going to head out so we can get to editing this. I go back to work next Monday, Anuj. If it is possible, maybe we do a community night on like Friday or Saturday.
Yes. I'm seeing if Kelly's working either.
Yeah, we'll talk to the missus and the schedule. We'll talk to the people in charge. We'll talk to our bosses and get back to you guys. But if I can make it this weekend, that'd be great because I don't,
if you're open to doing one during the week, that could also work too.
Yeah. Always.
Because it's going to be easier for me to do that shit on days where Kelly is like working.
Yeah, of course. So,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Maybe if there's absolutely nothing to talk about on Wednesday, we can just do a community night.
That might not be a bad idea.
Because we already kind of have that time
saved,
knocked out, approved, I should say. That PTO is already approved. So, might not be a bad idea. But, okay, yeah, we'll get back to everyone on that. Just be in the Discord and take a look at it. But, killing the stream. Love your faces. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Love you guys.